Trend line tools. Trend line tools are how you draw on your chart important levels. They are how you mark key support and resistance areas. They are also just how you sort of keep a running journal of notes, thoughts, levels to watch, risk reward, and so much more. And there's also an element of simply just drawing arrows like this if you want to have some fun and share your charts, or if you want to do something more complicated, drawing regression trends to understand supply, to understand demand, and to just see what the trend is. Now we're going to remove all of this from our chart because in this video, we are going to dive in a little deeper. We are going to show you how to use all of these tools and of course, why you would use them. Now let's get started. The first tool we're going to talk about is the trendline tool. The trendline tool is as simple as this. You click it to select it. And now you want to pick a starting point and an ending point, and ideally with a trend line. With this trendline tool, you are marking an area or a level on the chart that is significant to you. So in this instance, we see something pop out immediately. We see that at this low here, we click, and at this low here, price bounced. Now we click again. And there we have it. What we drew there is just a simple reminder that price has bounced at this trend line, at this line. So we drew it on our chart, and it was as easy as going to the trendline tool menu, selecting the tool, clicking a starting point and an ending point. And this works really for any direction. So we did sideways here, but if we wanted to do an upward trend line, maybe we thought that see this? So what we did there is we drew an upward trend line by clicking the tool. We picked our starting point, and then we're not, clicking or holding anything. The line has already been selected. So we're just moving our mouse slowly as price hits each point on the trend line, and then we are clicking, and now the trend line is set. So how cool is that? What we just showed you is the basics of sort of drawing a support and resistance trend line, click and click, and then an upward trend line where we clicked and then just sort of positioned the line where price, see it bouncing here, bounced off the trend line at each point. So now check this out. We can really highlight what we've done here. It bounced, it bounced, it bounced, didn't totally touch, but got so close, and it bounced, it bounced. So you see what we're doing here? We use the trendline tool to mark these levels, and that is how we can keep track of price, plan our trades, and most importantly, keep notes that will make us better traders or investors. And remember, if we click save, our chart will remember these trend lines. They will remain on our chart. Okay, we're going to keep diving in here because the trendline tool is probably one of the most used tools on TradingView. Whoopsies here, we've accidentally selected it. Let's delete these. So we just click and delete, click and delete. And why don't we now dive into something that's, let's get into some of these tools further down. So let's keep it going. The info line. The info line is so cool and so underrated. What is it? It is the trendline tool, but look what's happening. The info line is actually showing us these statistics about the trend line. That is absolutely invaluable because now you are starting to measure things like the degrees, how many bars are included in this trend line, the distance, just all sorts of interesting things. The percentage change. This is a 6% rise, this trend line. And that is such a powerful tool because for people who do want to measure, not just, supply and demand, but also want to know every little detail about that trend line, this info line can give it to you. Watch the difference. Now look what we see. On our chart now we can see how many bars, the distance, the degrees, and of course the price change from the starting point to the ending point. That is so cool, and we really recommend that if you like to use these types of trend lines, also explore the info line. By the way, one tip about this video is really important. If you click favorite, you can start to create your own custom toolbar. So watch this toolbar as we click favorites. You see it growing? It's because we've now built our own custom toolbar that follows us around the chart. So that is one thing that we would also recommend if you want to create your own custom toolbar that follows you anywhere on the chart. Let's keep it going. Let's do the trend angle. So the trend angle is cool because the trend angle allows you to essentially draw a line, and then if you look, so pay attention to this area here where it says 50 degrees, if you look, it will let us draw a line that is of the perfect angle we want. And so for those who want to measure precise distances or precise angles, you can use this angle tool to do that. And it's really as simple as you see what we're doing here. If you just follow the instructions of this video, you go to your trendline tools, go to trendline angle, you click a starting point, and then you drag the tool up and define and decide what angle you want. Okay, let's move on. Now what we have is anchored VWAP, which is anchored volume weighted average price. We have made videos about this tool in our profile. We highly recommend that you go try it out and go watch those videos. What anchored VWAP is anchored VWAP tells you the price of an asset anchored to the starting point and according to its average volume. So anchored VWAP, the reason why this tool is so important is, see this price spike here? This price spike is going to have a bigger significance on calculating this line than, say, these lower volume price spikes. So that is what anchored VWAP is. It's anchored volume weighted average price. So we'll just show you one more time. We select anchored VWAP. We anchor it to a starting point. So why don't we just start from right here? We click start. And now it begins and it shows on our chart. And what this tool is doing is it is showing us the average price weighted by all of this volume. So bigger volume spikes, bigger volume price spikes are going to have a greater impact in determining this price average, and it's anchored to the starting point. We hope that made sense. There is another video in our profile that you should go watch if you're interested in learning more about anchored VWAP. We're going to remove this from our chart and continue to show you our trendline tools. Okay, horizontal line. Horizontal line is as self-explanatory as it sounds. Let's go back in time on this chart. Let's do a really long-term time frame horizontal line. So what we're going to do with this horizontal line is we are going to say, okay, here is where price is today. Why don't we draw a line that goes across the entire chart's history at today's price? So we select the tool and click, and let's make sure that the color is, but actually this is a good time to show you this. You can customize. Every tool that we've shown you here can be completely customized to your needs. Simply double click it, open the settings, and then change it to your needs. So in this case, we're going to make the line white. We want to increase its thickness. So you can see now, it's impossible to miss. It's right here. And if we click text, we can even write, this is a line. And why don't we do white as well here? Italics, okay. This is a line. It's hard to see, so why don't we actually move the text alignment there to the bottom? It's that easy. Okay, let's remove that text though for now because this horizontal line is fantastic for what we're about to show you. We essentially placed a horizontal line at where price is today, and now we zoom out in time. We go back 20 plus years and we say, okay, the price today is significant because, wow, look at this. It looked like there was an interesting support zone here, an interesting support zone here. There was quite a bit of chop in this region and even in this region. It was actually resistance here. See that? It hit this line, broke over a little, then just completely dropped. And now with the horizontal line, we were able to do all of that research in seconds. We just drew a horizontal line across the chart. We zoomed out and we got to see where price what happened to this same price level in the past. And the reason why we say research is because we are examining price history. And what we could do if we wanted to, we then could go back and look at, say, some news articles or some fundamental research of this time and try to find a confirmation of sorts. We could say, look at this. We use the horizontal line to find these moments of support. And then we also go back in time, let's say we do some research and we find that there were significant news events that may have also confirmed that. So that is the horizontal line. And let's keep going down the list, and we hope that makes sense. It is one of the easier tools to use. It's as simple as selecting horizontal line, picking your point, and then doing your research from there. Moving on, we have the vertical line, the horizontal ray. And the ray is essentially, as it sounds, it is a ray. You are going to add a ray to your chart. So it's different from the horizontal line because it has a starting point and it gets cut, that's the starting point, and then it extends outward. So you could draw this ray rather than the horizontal line going across your chart. You could draw this ray just essentially at any starting point, and it could be used as a tool for only looking at what's to come in the future. Now let's keep going. We also have now the vertical line, which is a lot like the horizontal line. The difference here is the vertical line is going to obviously be up and down, and it's just as easy as the horizontal line. You select vertical line, and then you click your starting point, and it appears just like that fast. So why is the horizontal line important? What would you use the horizontal line for? The horizontal line is great for marking dates that you can't miss. It's also great for measuring. So if you wanted to measure a price move off of the horizontal line, you could draw it. You use this horizontal line as your starting point for essentially anything that you want to draw or research on your chart. And more importantly, if you just want to keep notes or keep track of something, you could double click, you could go to text, and you could write something such as, this was the high. Let's also write choppy trading. It was kind of a choppy, we'll say sideways action. And we'll change this font so now you can see it up here. And now what we have is we've created this vertical line that sticks right here on the price point. We've added our text, and it can be sort of a reminder or a measuring point for this moment in time. So that is the vertical line. Now let's keep going. We've shown you the trend line, a very popular tool. The info line, a really cool tool that we actually think should be used more often because of the stats it shows you. Trend angle shows you the angle of the trend line you're drawing. Anchored VWAP, volume weighted average price. Horizontal line draws a line across the chart. Horizontal ray, it draws a horizontal ray across the chart. The vertical line, which we just walked through. Now let's do the cross line. The cross line is much like the crosshair on your screen here. See it following our mouse? It is a point that connects price and time, and it makes that easy to line up on your chart. So let's place a crosshair. And what we're going to do is place a crosshair at, let's say, these highs right here, 2008. We click, and now what we have here is a crosshair that you just can't miss. And what the crosshair does that's also really unique is if you look, we see the price level here. See it right here? And we see the date right here. See the date here? Highlighted in blue. We could change these colors as well to anything of our choice. And we could also choose to show price or hide price, show time or hide time. We could also hide both or show both. The possibilities are endless. And, of course, you can also customize your coordinates. Also, a really important thing here is you can make this level of customization to this tool. So the crosshair, though, is key for just instant visual of the date and time. We go here and we see date and price. So we go here and see the price. We go down and we see the date. and that's how the crosshair can be helpful. And what you could do if you wanted to is you could start to mark certain levels. And yes, we know this chart is starting to look somewhat, noisy in a way, but you can start to see what we're doing is we're marking up these times. So we're seeing these times and these prices, and each crosshair on this chart is meant to sort of show a choppy sideways moment that then eventually led to a further down move. So why don't we remove this for now and continue onward. And let's now talk about the next set of tools, which are these arrows, just the array in general, and some of these channel tools. So the arrow is also self-explanatory. If you share charts on social media, or if you share charts with friends or your private group or within your business setting, the arrow is just really great because it gets the message across. So you click this, and then you go to arrow, and then you click a starting point and check it out. You can draw a big red arrow in this instance. If the asset was going up, well, you could just change the direction, and you could do something like this. Of course, it doesn't make much sense. It's not meant to be a trend line, but just a visual cue. As you can see, if you click and drag this bottom point, you can really manipulate the arrow to do anything that you need. So in this instance, we point at this level, and then we double click, and then we go to text, and we can change the color to white, and we could say, hello. And now we have the same text control as the other tools. And of course, one really cool thing about the arrow is all of the style options you have available. So check it out. You could extend the line, see it extend. You could extend the line through the arrow itself, show the middle point. So if you want to know the middle point of the arrow, you could show the price range. So now it shows the price range that the arrow encompasses. The bars range, so how many bars. Date and time, so now we know just how many the date, the time frame of this arrow. And the distance, the angle, always show stats. This is just really, these are additional ways to essentially supercharge your research. And while the arrow can be used for making notes like this hello, what we did just show you is actually something that is probably a really interesting approach for you if you're looking to use the arrow tool more often. You can turn this arrow, you can supercharge this arrow, is what we're saying. And you just double click, go to style, and all of these boxes here will give you the options you need. And always show stats essentially means that if you're showing stats, for example, we want to show the date, the bars, and the price, it means these stats will always show here. But watch what happens if we uncheck this, and now the stats disappear. But if we click or hover over the arrow, the stats show. So see that? That is what always show stats mean. And we'll check this box to keep them there. But that's the arrow. The arrow can be either a simple tool that just points out a moment on your chart, or it can actually be a calculation tool where you are using the stats shown to actually perform some complex analysis or to actually study price action down to the date, the number of bars, and the percentage or price change. And as we get close to wrapping up this video, we do want to remind you, please leave any questions or comments below in the comment section. Our team reads those and wants to help. You may notice on our YouTube page, we actually respond to a lot of people. So please comment, press like. We really appreciate that. And now let's just continue this. Let's talk about the Ray tool. The Ray tool is essentially a way to create a line in any direction of your needs, and you are creating a ray. You have a starting point, and then you have this secondary point, this dot here, and you can extend it. You can move it around your starting point. See what we're doing here? We are actually just rotating it around the chart. We can also move this point of it, so we can actually move the starting point so it rotates now around the middle point. And this is our ray. And it is as easy as we just showed you. You click the tool. Actually, we'll show you one more time. So you go to your trendline tools, you go to ray, and then you click. Now what you want to do is find your starting point. why don't we use the ray tool actually to draw a really precise trend line showing 2 connected points. So we'll click our starting point, and now we'll make sure it's connected here, and here's our ray. And what we can do if we want to make an adjustment while keeping this starting point, we just click and hold this middle point, and you see it rotating, and it maintains this starting point. Or maybe we decide that actually this area we want to keep. We want to keep the line anchored to this area. Well, we just take this and restart it, say up here, or we bring the starting point here. So the ray is a really dynamic tool for creating trend lines with, you could just say with precision, and having that ability to rotate the trend line or pivot. That's probably the perfect word for this. You're pivoting the trend line around a key point, and what we mean by key point is a price level that you select. So as you can see here, we are pivoting the ray around these levels. And with the ray, you have 2 options: this starting point or this middle point. And what we're doing, by the way, if you're missing this, is our screen should be showing our mouse clicks. We are clicking and holding to drag this. So clicking and holding to drag it. And now we double click, and we have the same stats available to us. We can extend the line, show the middle point, price range, bars. You know what? We're just going to check every box because this is what you can do. This is possible. Here's our middle point. And watch with the ray how the middle point dynamically adjusts, calculates with our changes. See this? This is the middle point we added. And the middle point means we know the exact middle between this starting point and this middle point, or this other extension of the ray. So watch as we see that the middle point now has moved. And here are our stats. Hover over, stats show. That is the ray. So we hope that you are understanding what we're doing here. And the purpose of this video is to show you all of these tools. There are a lot of tools here, but the point is that on TradingView, you have the freedom to create a chart, to do your own research, to study price action to your needs. Now let's go to extended. Extended is a lot like the ray tool, except that now what you're doing is it is an extended line that pivots off your starting point, and it is already extended all the way left and extended all the way right, and it is essentially the ray tool but with the full extensions on either side. So that is the difference between extended, and the reason why the extended tool, say you want to draw this trend line like this, is important is it's for people who just want the line going through the chart. They want to match up the starting point and they want to match up the ending point perfectly. Say, let's add this. Let's actually find a better level here. So we can do this point and this point, and then you just want it going through the whole chart. It's that easy. Double click, you have all of these same settings available to you. For example, as you can see, extended left, extended right. And if you wanted to turn this into a ray tool, you could simply turn off extended right or extended left. So these tools are really just available to you to perform the analysis you need, but you also have the freedom to manipulate the tools to almost create a new tool that fits your style, because that's pretty important. Everyone has a different style of research, of charting. Technical analysis means a lot of different things to people and how they choose to use it in their own strategies. And that's something that we believe is really important. And what we mean by that is you have the freedom to have these tools work for you and your needs. Okay, now let's finish up here on the parallel channel, the disjoint channel, the flat top bottom, and the regression trend. These tools are awesome. And because we've been on this Euro USD chart the whole time, we think that to wrap up this video, it just makes sense now to move to a new symbol. And as a way to move to a new symbol, why don't we go to E-mini S&P 500 futures. So if you're a futures trader out there, you trade futures contracts, this last part of the video is for you. We open our trendline tools and we go to parallel channel. So parallel channel is like what it sounds. We want to draw a channel. Now, let's find an area on the chart where a channel occurred. We're going to click our starting point, and then we're going to click our ending point, and then drag down. Now the lines are a little difficult to see, so what we will do is open our settings. By the way, this is your toolbar for controlling the visual feel of these tools. And let's actually double click to open this to make sure the middle line, actually we want to do white as well. And of course, if we wanted to extend it left and right like this, we could. It's that simple. So let's actually uncheck these boxes. So let's talk about the parallel channel. It's how you draw a channel. And what is a channel? A channel is a point in time. Let us zoom in here. A channel, we're going to hide our volume too to make this as clear as possible. A channel is a point in time where price makes a high, and that seems to be the high for an extended period of time. And within that same time frame, price makes a low, and that seems to be the low within that extended period of time. And oftentimes there are multiple points of support and resistance. So the channel tool, why don't we just do this again? We go to our trendline tools, we go to parallel channel, we click our starting point, right? So here's our starting point, we click. Now see the white line following us? We go to our ending point and we click again. Now we don't need to drag or anything, we just pull our mouse down, and then when we think we found our channel, we click. And if we want to change the channel or extend it, we can then click and hold and drag the channel around to fit the visual, the visual cues we're looking for. So it's as easy as that. If we wanted to drag the whole channel, just select and drag. And now what we've done here is we've drawn a channel that shows an interesting price range over, it looks like, almost 3 years. Check it out. It hit here. It hit here. It got very close here, not quite, but close enough. It also hit here, and then there was this whole region here, and there was this here, and this here, and there's the reason why we drew these circles is just to show you that's how this channel worked. These were the lows, these were the highs, and then price chopped around within this channel. And you can do that very easily with this parallel channel tool. And now let's talk about another tool here, which is similar to this, but also very, very important. And that, of course, we're just going to zoom out and go to the chart more recently of E-minis. That, of course, is the disjoint channel. And the disjoint channel is perfect for charts like this, because what you're saying about the disjoint channel is you're sort of drawing this megaphone-like pattern, right? And for those who are familiar with these megaphones where price is expanding, it's almost a volatility expansion. You can kind of see it started really, tight, and then it started to just whiplash around. So these disjoint channels are great for capturing moments when price started to, really get volatile and really expand. And especially when they break out of these moments, like this moment, you can just visually see that. And it's just fascinating to see on the chart. So why don't we just show you how to use that one more time? And this should help quite a bit. So you go to your trendline tools and click. Then there is disjoint channel and click. Now, disjoint channel, you want to find a starting point, and then you want to make the channel just by moving your mouse to its necessary ending point. So we clicked our starting point. Now let's go to, let's say that this is the disjoint channel end. And now, as you can see, it started going the opposite direction, but we can actually quickly fix that by just dragging our mouse down and creating this megaphone-like pattern. So this can work for, really any pattern that you're looking for, or any way you're trying to analyze price, news, even on fundamental data. Important reminder, fundamental data is here. you could do something like, cash and equivalents, and you could draw on it just like this. Okay, now that we have gone through the disjoint channel, why don't we do flat top bottom? So flat top bottom refers to a moment in time where the top or the bottom is flat, but the direction afterward actually has a trend to it. For example, you could say that this to this was the flat bottom, and then you could click and create that channel, right? So that's one way that you could do it. Now, another way that you could do the flat top bottom, though, is you could say, okay, here is our uptrend. And now see what we're doing? We've created the uptrend, but now the top here is flat. So we could say that this is our trend line up, and this is the extension. This area here is the extension, it's the top, and it's good for drawing sort of wedges and other technical patterns like that. So let's just show you that one more time. Flat top bottom. And as another example, we could say, let's just say, let's do this. More recent. Of course, only 2 points, but we could draw that there and then sort of say, this is a stretch. Remember, this is all for entertainment, education. We are charting this live. So please do not take this as sort of as a recommendation or anything of the sort. We're just showing you an example of what you could do. So the flat top bottom, we drew the trend line up and to the right, and then we drew this support base down to this point, and that is how you can use the flat top bottom. And now let's wrap up this video with the regression trend, which is such a great tool and often underutilized. And by the way, if you fast forward or skipped ahead, everything in this video as a quick recap is a walkthrough of our trendline tools, which can be found right here. Click, open the trendline tool menu, and then get started with any of these. In this video, we've gone through every single trendline tool available to you. And the most important thing is the freedom for you to use these tools to your needs, the ability to customize them, and most importantly, absolutely most importantly, the fact that these tools can very easily be applied to your chart so that you can perform better research, better trading, and just, be someone who understands risk management. Now let's go to regression trend. So we click the tool. And now what we do with regression trend is, let's say we want to find a regression trend from the absolute low here to the absolute high here. And regression trend shows us the regression, see here, from this point to that point. It automatically calculates. It shows us the high band of that regression trend, the low, and then of course the middle average here. And you could use this tool to measure long-term regression trends. And it's really easy. It's as simple as clicking regression trend, then finding your starting point, say here, going up to your ending point, and then instantly getting a regression trend. And of course, here is your regression right there. It will show right there at the bottom of the chart. And if you are familiar with statistics, this regression trend tool will be really powerful to you. If not so much, we highly recommend you go brush up on what a linear regression is. Now let's actually double click this, because one really cool thing about regression trend is you can double click and customize the look and feel. So the lower half of the regression trend could sort of be a really dark red, right? The upper half here could be maybe actually a green. So now you can really visualize the bullish buy and the red sell. And then, of course, you can extend the lines. See how we extended? Here's your Pearson's R, right? You can choose to hide that or not. And, of course, you can even just hide the whole thing if you wanted to. Inputs, you could change the deviation or the standard deviation from this regression trend. So this zone here, the top of this regression trend is 2 standard deviations. The lower is 2, but watch this. We do 3, and we do 3. And now it extends the regression trend for us. And you could say use upper deviation or not. It's totally up to you. Source, close. It's at the default is close, but you can pick any of these for your calculation. And that is regression trend. Take advantage of the upper deviation and lower deviation to really see, what type of trend we're in and just how strong or weak it is. All right, let's remove this from our chart and let's wrap up. This was a long video, 35 minutes. If you sat through it, the most important thing is that hopefully it helps you get started with these trendline tools. They're all available to you. You can use them to your needs. The settings can be customized to fit your strategy or whatever goals you're trying to accomplish. And it all starts with opening a chart, going to trendline tools, clicking, and then practicing. Clicking these tools, opening them, and trying them on your chart is the fastest way to becoming a master at them. You just have to do it yourself. This video, though, hopefully gave you an introduction into what's possible and how each tool works. Thank you for watching. Once again, please leave your comments below or questions. Our team wants to help. And just as a final note, why don't we just have some fun, do a regression trend. Let's do a regression trend from 1997 all the way to today. How much fun is that? That's more than 20 years of price data on one chart with a upper standard deviation, lower standard deviation, and a regression trend. That is cool. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Thank you for watching.